Hi, I'm Courtney Henry, and this is my pest analysis for the business climate in Mexico. Mexico is a country that is full of promise of business opportunities that could prove to be successful under the right leadership. Unfortunately, Mexico is also known for being very corrupt, especially in the political climate. In a paper published by gov.uk, Mexico is a federation with a presidential system of government. There are three levels of that government: the federal, the state, the municipal. The president is both the head of state and of the government. This can go hand in hand with letting them pretty much have free reign, and so this way they're not really questioned a lot because they have so much power in this one person. And so one of the good things is that they're elected for a 6-year term and they can't stand for re-election. But in 6 years, you can do a lot of damage. Mexico is drowning right now in political corruption. Politicians and leaders in power are suggestible to bribes for personal gain. So if you have the money to make it happen, then business would probably be pretty lucrative for you if you could grease the right palms. But on the smaller scale, if you don't know the climate and if you don't know the people and if you don't have the money to do that type of thing, you could face an uphill battle. It also makes the political environment can make it hard on the citizens because the citizens are very impoverished. They don't have a lot. They're taxed beyond compare. And then they also don't agree with their government. They don't particularly like how their government is run, and they don't believe in the democracy because even though they're electing these people, they can do whatever they want because there's no really oversight of that. They can do things that benefit themselves and there's no repercussions. One of the elements that we'd like to consider and that I considered in my PEST analysis was the economic factors that affect the country. So Mexico's $2.4 trillion economy is 11th largest in the world. So they have an economy, and it's become increasingly oriented towards manufacturing since the North American Free Trade Agreement. So they're coming up in that area. Mexico is also an emerging market, currently in the 13th largest in the world. Mexico is the second largest economy in Latin America after Brazil. So, I mean, in their area, they are growing with growing domestic demand, including in sectors of interest in the U.S., such as energy, financial services, healthcare, retail, and infrastructure. Mexico is one of only 3 Latin American members of the OECD, with Chile and Colombia. As with every other country in the world, COVID-19 severely rocked their market. The Mexican economy had contracted 8.5% in 2020. The economy returned with a little bit of growth in 21. Wasn't what they thought it would be, but it is coming back just slower than they expected it to. The slowdown, again, I mean, just like with the rest of the world, is due to supply chain issues. They're not able to get out what they need. They're not able to meet the demand. They're having to wait on their ships in the oceans that are just sitting out there. And that causes a backup in your economy. And then if we go up to the next little part of this would be that Mexico's GDP is driven primarily by the services sector, which account for around 64% of the GDP. In terms of competitiveness, the 2020 World Bank's Doing Business Index ranks Mexico 60th as the second easiest country in which to do business in Latin America and the Caribbean. So they're easy to do business with Mexico impaired, they're in the top percent. Also stated in the fact book, Mexico has become the U.S.'s second largest export market and third largest source of imports. In 2017, two-way trade in goods and services exceeded $623 billion. So that just gives you an idea on the economy side of it. Now, if we start to look at the social factors of the PEST analysis, it's important to note that Mexico is a largely Spanish-speaking country, with more than half the country, half the population living in urban areas. So there's not a lot of rural areas. Those people who live in rural areas struggle to find employment opportunities. Again, this touches on the fact that you have a very large amount of impoverished people in this country. Despite the poverty issue, though, the country is improving their literacy rates and education, and most children are enrolled in school at the primary level, although it's average for the kids to usually stop going around the age of 15. Family is very big in the Mexican culture and very important to the people of Mexico. Most households contain 3 generations, so you've got your grandparents, parents, and children living there at any given time. Women are still primarily your homemakers, and your men are going to be the ones that are going out, getting these jobs, bringing home the money, but they do a very normal, old way of doing things where he goes home, he makes the money, he comes home, and she takes care of the house, she takes care of the kids, she takes care of the parents if they're living there at that time. You're not going to see a lot of women out working outside of the home, especially in the rural areas. And then you have that in the next little area is your technological factors. They come last when you're doing your PEST analysis. The United States and Mexico share a border, meaning it's easier for us because we can just transport, right across to our neighbors, and it's not a big deal. But technology has also helped citizens find new job opportunities, although computers are often used by enterprises and personal computers by smaller businesses. So you don't have a lot of these computers in the home, which in our generation is very strange to say, but so you don't have a lot of your people that are the work from home type. But they could hopefully be moving in that direction soon. And with those computers, you're going to have more opportunities because people are needed for business security, online marketing, connecting with new audiences. We have all these new ways to make money and to support a family that can come right from your computer screen. And Mexico is going to be working, it seems to be growing in that area to take advantage of that. So Mexico is a country full of familial ties, festivities, and enjoyment. There's all kinds of things that you could see and do. There's a lot of areas where you could grow a business. It's very ripe for the taking. But it's just, if you are savvy enough to work the political environment and to deal with the citizen disrest and discontent in their living status, and that they're having to live in poverty while they're paying for these politicians to live, high on the hog, as they would say. So while they have these festivities, it's also where the poverty line kind of devours the poor, and the governmental bodies are doing nothing about it. So the country's overrun by corruption, political parties, banks, technology. Much needs to be done for the Mexican civilians to live a happier life. But as far as business, would I open a business here? It just depends on the type of business. I think that it is a very big opportunity for someone in the right business, with the right mindset. You could potentially begin a business and watch it thrive. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an enjoyable class.